Hello. Well, I speak on behalf, I think, of all of Hearst. We have never had a more sold-out masterclass, you should know. We are so proud and happy to welcome you, Naomi Campbell, model, actress, activist, and also the star of Town & Country's March cover. And that cover was sort of a reunion of sorts with Max Baduko and Nicoletta.
I've been working with Nicoletta since I was 16 years old. And Max, I think I started working with Max when I was 18, so it was absolutely a reunion.
Oh, wow.
And it was a great day. It was really fun. I had a great time. Thank you.
Well, you have had just the most remarkable career, which continues to thrive and also to evolve. And we'll talk about all the ways in which it's evolved later. But throughout the 30-year career, there is one thing that remains singularly yours, absolutely signature, the Naomi walk.
Oh, my God.
And Lee Daniels told Danielle Stein, who wrote the piece for us, that watching you walk on the runway is like watching Baryshnikov dance or Serena play.
Oh, my God.
And part of it is magic, but I would like to talk a little bit about that walk.
I think I studied ballet since I was 3 years old, and tap and modern dance, jazz. And so I remember when when I was discovered as a model, my mother said no, but she caught me like trying to do my own kind of runway walk in the hallway. And she was like, well, then let me show you if you really want to know. So my mother kind of gave me her spin on it. And then I think what I realized in working with different designers like Gianni Versace, Yves Saint Laurent, Azina Laya, Marc Jacobs, is that each show I worked for, each designer I worked for, you had to walk differently. It really was, for me, and it still is that way for me, but it's about the way the clothes look. It's what, I would never walk the same way I walked for Comme des Garçons, for Gianni Versace or Alaya. It's completely different. Or Helmut Lang. It was all, El Prada, it was all different. So it was kind of like you had to make it like another type of walk for each designer.
So you're almost playing a role?
For me, it's kind of like playing a role, yes. I mean, of course, we identify and feel good with some more than one designer more than another. So yes, I do like more to be in the sculpted, more abstract type of clothing. Oops, my mic. And yeah, so I think that's why maybe that's more me, but it's me with a little bit of something else.
There's so much confidence in your walk.
That's what it looks like.
Well, tell us, was that always there, or that's something that has evolved?
Actually, that's not what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking when I'm walking is I'm not really paying attention to anyone in the audience. You have to do something really outlandish for me to notice you, because I'm looking right to the light. And I basically, for me, it's just like, I feel like I'm floating always. And I'm very nervous, actually, inside.
Really?
It's like anything. I've had some accidents, as you all know. I've fallen down, I've lost a skirt, my tops fell out. So, things happen, but it's like, you just have to keep going. And, but it's for me, it's, I don't know, I love live. I think it's great. I love shows. I love the adrenaline rush. I love everything that happens backstage. And most of all, I love seeing the designer just have an amazing show. And, it was a success for them, because they put 6 months into doing each collection, and it goes over in 20 minutes.
Right.
And it's, it's emotional for them.
Yeah. Nicoletta and I saw you at Versace in Milan, and the energy changes in the room when you come out. Will you be on any runways you can tell us this season?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I'm getting too old. And
I don't know.
I get quite surprised.
Given the cheers when you appear on the runway,
20-year-olds,
I don't think so.
18-year-olds. But I do like the challenge. I can't say that I don't. I still love what I do. And when given the challenge, I'm like, oh, I don't know, then maybe. And it's like, it's like that with Kanye's show. I was like, well, I've never done a show in Madison Square Gardens. I really would like to do a show in Madison Square Gardens. Yes, I'm going to do the show in Madison Square Gardens. Even though I couldn't walk, I was like determined.
Why couldn't? Oh, you had.
Because I had an injury, but I was like, bandage my knee up. I'm doing it. and thank God it was sneakers. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it became such a historic show. So. You have also starred in some of the most memorable fashion photography of the last 3 decades. And certainly a lot of us really were first introduced to you as part of the, the Trinity. And we have some pictures of you and Christy Turlington. This is from
My
Elle.
roommate.
Really?
Yeah, she was my first roommate.
Here in New
I
York.
met Christy when I was 16, yeah, in London. And then she said, you got to come to New York, and when you come to New York, you're going to live with me. So we were both living with Eileen Ford, and then we somehow, Katie Ford got her a loft downtown when she was married to Andre Balazs.
Right.
And then we were like, we want to be grown-ups. And they said, well, you can be, but you're going to live on the other half of us so we can still oversee you. So it was, we felt like, we didn't have anything in our fridge except Rolling Rock, nothing. That was it. Yeah.
Amazing. Rolling Rock. I mean, that's
back in the
back in the day. Do you still keep in touch with?
I'm in touch with all of them. Every single Christy, Linda, Cindy, Stephanie, Tatiana.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah. That's also the group, of course, that did the George Michael Freedom 90 video.
Yeah, I guess I speak more like on a weekly basis to Linda and Christy because they live in the city. But yeah, but we're in contact.
That video became so iconic for music and for fashion. Did you all know each other on set?
No, we knew each other before.
Okay.
I mean, I lived with Christy. We lived together, and then Linda kind of moved in the same building. So we were always together, the 3 of us, because we were kind of like Stephen Meisel's girls.
Yes.
So, and Versace girls. And then we were all together because we were Versace girls too, in terms of with Cindy and Tatiana as well. And
had you known George Michael before you did the video?
I did. I knew George Michael before. I used to throw eggs at his fans because I was a Culture Club fan. I used to throw eggs at Duran fans and Culture Club fans.
That's right. That was that big
in the 80s
competition.
in London. Yeah. And so
you were in a Culture Club video too.
I was in 2 Culture Club videos.
To be clear.
I've been working since I was 7. And so, yeah, truly. And I kind of put, my mother always said never tell, but yesterday it was Bob Marley's birthday, and I put a picture up. I was like, I've just told now. But anyway, no, but I mean, I loved Wham. I did love Wham, but then when he went on his own, it was a whole different thing. And I remember he came up to me at this club in LA, and he goes, well, the girls are holding out because I heard you're the leader and you've got to say yes, and what do you want? I'm like, we want 2 round-trip Concorde tickets. Da, 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 da. And then he was like, oh, is that it? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, if I give that, I've got you all. I'm like, yeah. And that's how it went.
And that's, okay, and that's history.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 90s, this week, we all saw the new Gap campaign, and you posted today this archival picture of you. And
scary to put back on the same outfit.
You look exactly the same. You look exactly the same. But what you said in your post, I thought was so interesting about creativity in the 90s.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
What was it about that time?
I mean, I just remember, like, when I first came, I mean, I was always, like, enthralled by New York. And, I came here and I was just like, oh, wow. And everything was just looking up. And then I just remember creativity on the streets, people singing, dancing. I used to go to FIT a lot and see the shows that the students used to do. And just really just constantly churning out tons of creativity, going to the ballet and Alvin Ailey. I was dying to go to Alvin Ailey. I heard about it from London, and see Martha Graham. And it was just, I mean, it's still brimming with creativity, but it was just like you could see it everywhere you went, in the park, on the street corners.
Yeah, it was a great time. You also, just about last week, were unveiled as the face of the Givenchy jeans campaign.
Yeah.
And what was that like? Is doing an ad campaign different than doing editorial?
Not really. To me, I take both equally as seriously. I think the only extra pressure may be when you shoot an advertising campaign is you've got to make sure you show what they want to see, the pocket, the star, in that case for the Givenchy jeans. But no, it was really easy. Working with Ricardo has always been really easy. And
you've always had very strong collaborations with designers and photographers.
Well, designers, I think, really has been my support in this business and have helped me in my career throughout 31 years. So, I mean, when I think about wanting to get my first French Vogue cover, how I got it was because I said to Yves Saint Laurent, I came back and I was crying like they won't give me a cover. But yet I was his contract girl for 3 years. So in every ad I did for him with Helmut Newton or Barbieri, and Yves was, Mr. Saint Laurent said, what's wrong? Because you're not supposed to talk to him. And I said, well, they said, I can't talk to you. He goes, no, tell me. And I said, well, they won't put me on the cover of French Vogue because I saw the other girls asking for a cover. I said, I want one too. And it goes, no, we never had a black girl. Basically, it's not even a question.
When was this? They had never had a black girl on the cover. So like 80s?
They had never had one, a period, up until, the 80s. And so then I remember going back to Eva telling him, and next thing I heard, he was like, not going to put the advertising, and da-da-da-da-da, and the next thing I was getting my cover.
I think there's a book, Naomi Campbell and the Art of Negotiation.
I like negotiating. I'm more better to negotiate for someone else than myself.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
But I have to say, I'm not someone that's, when people say to me, oh, but you've gone through racism, I won't say I went through racism, I would never accept it. And I would rise to the challenge to prove and find another way to get around it and get what I wanted. I'm ambitious, but not to hurt and to take someone else's stuff. What's mine is for me, what's for someone else is for someone else. But when I was told in such a way, when it was put in my face like that, I wouldn't accept it. I was like, no. Herbert says I'm black, yellow, green, white, orange. And that's how I'm going to look at myself. And that's why I'm going to go for what I want to go for.
And look at what you paved the way then.
Well, I don't know, because the other day I was with Stephen Meisel and he was showing me Helen Hayes, Jolie Jones, and so there were a lot of women of color before Iman and Beverly that I didn't know that I've become aware of, and Willie Smith and Tukey Smith. So, you know, I'm learning more about people, and Naomi Sims, I mean, there was Daniel Luna, and all such striking and different types of beautiful women.
Right.
Yeah.
Your collaboration with photographers, when I was researching some of the things you've shot with Hearst, I came upon these Jean-Paul Goude pictures.
I love
from
working with
Bazaar.
him. He's so lovely.
Well, I gasped when I saw these pictures. And they are so remarkable. And you know, there's a saying, never to work with children or animals. And I just, if you could tell us a little bit how these photographs happened.
Well, I can't tell his magic completely because I don't know, but I do know that I did have to get up on an elephant in Paris, and I was not terrified. I was just like, he's going to throw me. Oh, no. But for me, Jean-Paul Goude is magic, and I just when you get there, you just put the robe on and you're like, do what you want, because he's such an artist, and you know, whatever he does is amazing. He sketches everything before, so like everything's sketched out on these little notepads that he pulls out and shows it to you, and he just puts you into place. It's all done. Just get into there and do what he says. And I love to be directed. I do.
Well, that brings us to, I mean, what is also so remarkable is your evolution as an actress. And I started watching Star.
You like it?
I love it.
Thank you.
And we have a clip here because we need to talk about Rose Crane.
Rose Crane is a trip.
Yes. Yeah. So let's watch the clip from Star, which is directed by Lee Daniels on Fox.
Atlanta is not a good look, darling. I've seen that.
Some really great one-liners. Tell us about Rose Crane.
Rose Spencer Crane, is from a very wealthy family, and she married a rock star, Roland Crane, who's Lenny Kravitz, who's a philandering rock star, doesn't want to get old, you know, aging and all that stuff. And she puts everything into him, and they have a child, but, you know, it's rock and roll life, and they kind of neglected that child. And this is the product. And so, you know, she had everything she wanted materially, but she didn't have our love, so she's turned out like this, and it's a disaster, and now I'm trying to get her back. So Rose has hit the bottle, she's taking pills, and she's like, you know, trying to, you know, she's trying to think, you know, she can't still quite get out of it, but she'll have to sober up soon.
How did Lee approach you for this particular role?
I was in Brazil last April. I go every year to host AMFA, and I was at the luncheon, and he called me on FaceTime and said, "Look at your husband and daughter."
And it was Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz and Ryan, yeah.
And the costumes are really great.
I love working with Molly. It's Molly and Fisher.
Okay.
And Molly I worked with Patricia Fields on all of Sex and the City. And she's really lovely. And Fisher, they're great. They're a great team, and it's fun.
Do you find acting, how does it compare to sort of being on a fashion shoot set?
Well, you still have to have the same professionality, the same focus, even more focus. I tend to really keep quiet because I want to learn what's happening. There's more people around me. Actually, that's a little not true. And now on photo shoots, it's getting more and more people because they've got social media, they've got BTS, so it's getting bigger.
Video,
and bigger.
yeah.
So, but yeah, you do have to, like, I want to learn everything there is to learn, and you know, and just angles and lighting, and most importantly, listen to what the director has to say, because Lee tends to change the words that we learn on the script. It's not what we say often on set.
Okay, so you improvise a lot.
Well, but yeah, because especially with me, he's like, well, would you say that being from London? I'm like, no, so let's change that. So it happens when you're there.
How did you first meet Lee Daniels?
I did a PDF for Rock the Vote.
Okay.
No, Vote or Die. And I went to the studio to do it, and I was late, and he screamed at me, and I screamed back at him. I was like, all right, I'm leaving. And then we kind of liked each other, and then we just loved each other, and we've known each other ever since.
Well, it's a great collaboration.
I love him. He's honest, he's supportive, and he came at a time in my life when I wasn't really sure. I just moved back to America, and I took 5 years off modeling and moved to Russia, and I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And it came in a time of my life where it was like, it was always a fear. I thought about it, but it was a fear to do it.
To act.
Yeah. And so I'm so grateful and truly blessed that he's given me this opportunity.
Oh, it's really great. You know, in every successful career, there are always setbacks. How do you sort of give advice about how to sort of face a setback and overcome it?
I just, on my own past experience, you know, and you can only do it from what you've been through as a person. And so, I mean, I grew up in front of the world and made many mistakes, and I, you know, would apologize. I've always felt regretful for them. And, you know, it's part of the growing. And things just get so much calmer as you get older. And it's like, but what's the thing with me is I still have this drive of like, I love doing my job. And whatever I commit myself to doing, I love doing it. And I want to do it 110%. And whether it's raising money for whatever cause that Passion for Relief wants to be involved in, or whatever I commit myself. And it's not about, it never has been about the financial gain for me. It's always been because of the artistic gain. So when we started modeling, it was always about the creative side. And yeah, now it's more of a business. So now you have to evolve and change with the times. And it took me a minute. It's like, will you sell your name and put your name to this product? Never am I putting my name to homeware. Well, now maybe I will. It just takes time. You know.
On alert.
But, you know, things just, you know, it's just life. I mean, I don't have any regrets. I've been really, truly blessed. I've had such a colorful journey, and I've met so many incredible people. And I learned so many things from these incredible people. And so you know, I've loved my path so far.
You mentioned Fashion for Relief, and in part of your evolution has also been philanthropy.
Well, I started philanthropy with not knowing what I was really doing, to be honest, in 1993.
Okay.
When I got to go to meet Nelson Mandela in South Africa in his home in Johannesburg. And then he said, okay, this is what I'm going to do with you. You're going to be my goddaughter. You're my 22nd goddaughter or granddaughter, and I'm going to put you to work. And that's what I did. I went to the townships. I went to the bush. I spoke to women and children. I gave out condoms to the hospitals. And I traveled with him a lot, and I enjoyed it. I didn't know what that word philanthropy meant then. And then, you know, I was very quite private about it. It wasn't something that I was, I didn't want it for public adulation. It wasn't for the public. I was very protective of the kids. I never wanted the kids to ever feel like they were being used for any type of publicity or anything. And then when I started Fashion for Relief in 2005, because New Orleans was the first state of America that I went to when I was 15 and a half, before I turned 16, my first modeling job, which was for Elle.
For Elle.
British Elle, yeah. So I felt like this real nostalgia towards New Orleans, and I couldn't just sit there like everybody. Everyone did something. The actors, the singers did something. So I thought, what can we do? Fashion Week was coming, and I called Tony Forsman. I said, could I have the tent on the last day, at the last slot on Friday night of Fashion Week? And he gave it to me. I did a little bit of like, you know, well, you've got 2 kids from South Africa, you know what it's like, these kids are out there.
The negotiation again.
Negotiation
there we
again. Because I was told no by Fern Malice, but I was like, go around Fern Malice, let's go to Teddy Foster. And so then, and then we got it, and then, you know, everyone jumped in. Anna, Andre, Bo gave us their shoes. This one bought us this. It was everyone bought their bits, and then everyone bought themselves and made it happen by being there. It's a collaboration of everyone's efforts. And that's how Fashion for Relief was born. And since then, I always team up with another organization because I want someone that's on the ground, so you know that what you raise, it goes. So I have a mission coming up I have an exciting mission. I can't tell you where next week, but part from my organization, which is, I'm looking forward to it, especially with everything that's happening. I'm really looking forward to going. I've been to this country before, but it is one of the biggest camps there, and I'm, you know, going to see them all.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll watch for it. In doing the philanthropy, what are the moments where you really see the difference you're making?
When you go and then you go back, like 9 months to a year, and you see what they built, and you see kids that you met before whose health has gotten better. Some didn't make it, some do. And it happened to me in Bulgaria where a little boy didn't make it, and that one did affect me because he was like my friend who held my hand and gave me the tour of this home of all the kids that had AIDS. And all he asked me for was Lego, and I got the Lego to him, but not in time. And his name was Janusz. I always remember his name, his face, everything. And so, you know, and I remember when I first started going, I used to cry all the time at the hospitals. And Miss Mandela said to me, come here, sit down. And he said, you were crying today. And I was like, yeah. He goes, you can't do that because the kids think they've upset you. They don't know the difference. And I was like, I didn't think about that. So you had learned to get tougher skin and control your emotions and stuff. But the most important thing is, you know, just whatever little bit helps. You know, that's what matters. Whatever little bit helps.
You mentioned your very special relationship with Nelson Mandela, and I know that's so sacred to you. But if you could tell us a lesson that he taught you that you think really everyone should know.
Oh my God, so many, so many. I got to know him for 20 years in my life, and I mean, basically when things really got crazy, just to go to a really quiet place. Hard to find at times, sometimes when you don't know how. There's no book of like how to get there and how to center yourself. For me, and that was my person where things were in a manic situation. I'd run to South Africa and I'd run to him.
He was like a sanctuary.
And I just watching him be, never complaining, never saying. I mean, I remember when he said to me that when he was told that he could leave jail from Robben Island, and he said, they gave him the date, and he said no. He added like more time to that date because he said, I don't want the nation to go into erupt into riots. I want them to get used to the idea of me coming out and being free. So he stayed a bit longer. Who does that? I'd want to run. So, you know, it's like, you know,
leader,
and his unconditional love, his constitution, his kindness, even to people that families that he knows that were against him, he never showed it. So he's always a lesson to me now, today, every day.
Wow. We also, I will tell you, have a lot of fans of the face in the audience. So many people in the questions wanted you to know that, and also if you would ever do a reality show again.
I don't think so. But you know, I own part of the format with Shine, and it's doing very well in Asia, and Thailand, and Taiwan, and you know, I loved my girls, and I loved teaching them, but I got a little bit nervous. I didn't like when it came to like PR time, and they were like, would use part of my personal life to promote it. I didn't like that part. So that's the part that made me a bit nervous. And, you know, for reality for me, it's a very fine line. So if it was all real what you saw about me, and no one gave me any lines, I just said what I want to say. But I found out that sometimes maybe someone would say to someone, set her up, and I didn't like that either, to get my blood boiling. So, you know, I mean, my girls were my chickens, and I was going to defend them hell or high water. And, you know, and I would say, forget about who I am, just get your notebook out and pen, because it's like, you know, and I'm still in touch with all my girls. My girl, Crystal, from Australia, she's now the face of Westfield. She did Jean-Paul Gaultier. They send me all the pictures, and I'm proud of them all. I keep in touch with all of them.
Well, it's such an important part of the show is...
Except one.
Oh.
Sorry.
We made that clear. But one thing about the face was very much about mentorship.
Yeah.
And what role has mentorship played in your life and career?
I love mentoring. I mean, even now, if someone says, will you teach me how to walk, I'm going to do it.
I won't ask you to do it, but...
They do.
I know, I said we won't ask you to.
Oh, no, please don't. You don't need to do it. But when the girls ask, they got a show coming up, or they want, I mean, especially when Victoria's Secret comes around, it seems like I get a request from there, and I'm like, you know, and I'm like, yes, I'll find the time. I'll go to their home if I can, and I'll do it in their living room with them.
And what about your mentors? Who do you consider your great mentors?
I have many people. I have Beth Ann, Hardison, Iman, my mother, most of all, Quincy Jones, a friend of mine called Robin, who's the mother of two that lives in New York. I have really solid people in my life. They're not all part of this business. They don't understand my business, some of them, but they're solid friends and they're loyal. And I have a lot of great people that I've met in the business that I'm friends with since I'm 16 years old. And we try to meet on a weekly basis and have dinner and see each other.
That's rare.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, and it's not about work, it's about friendship. Yeah.
Oscar season is coming up.
No, it's great, isn't it?
Yes. What are some of the movies or performances you're rooting for?
Oh, God, I loved Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a wonderful film for women, and to know that story. It was an education, because I didn't know it.
No, I don't think anyone did.
And just, you know, I loved Kevin Costner's role, how he defended these women, and just like, you know, I think Kevin Costner loves black women. He always defends them. And you know, and I just thought that was a great film. And I loved Moonlight.
Yeah,
I loved the sensitivity of the whole thing. And Lovin', Fences. There's some great movies. It's going to be a really tough Oscars.
It is. And it's one of the races where, you know, sometimes you sort of know who's going to win. I feel like you don't know. Yeah.
No, I really, I loved Captain, was it one with...
oh, Captain Fantastic.
Oh, I love
right,
it.
Yeah,
I was crying.
So
Brilliant. So brilliant. Really great. Manchester by the Sea. I've seen them.
You've seen everything.
Well, I saw quite a few over the holidays.
Okay.
I talked to the DVD. Cindy got me the DVD.
That's the dream. Oscar screeners are the dream, really. You also love to travel.
I do. I mean, I get tired. Like, I did a crazy trip on Friday. I left from New York to Friday at 9 o'clock to Zurich. Had a meeting, got off the plane, had a meeting, then flew to Austria, worked there, then got back on the plane and flew to Paris, got there at 2 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 8, went to work in Paris, and got back here by 9 on
back
Sunday.
To New York?
On Sunday. Yeah, so 48 hours.
And 3 cities?
Yeah. But when this is the thing, when I have the drive to do it and I want to do it, I'll do it. And when I don't want to do something, I say no to you.
Okay. What about personal travel? Is there a place you've gone?
I used to like skiing, but the thing is, when you're doing television, they don't want you to do that kind of stuff.
Because they're afraid something.
Yeah, because that's what they were like, if you don't, And I actually prefer the heat than the cold, I'm going to be honest. So I'm more of the sea. I like scuba diving. I love hanging out under there.
When did you learn to scuba dive?
I can't swim very well, you know that, but I can dive, I got my paddy. I know it's crazy, but I have. Got the paddy, I can't seem to float, but I can float in the Dead Sea.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I've never dived. What's diving like?
when you go to the tank,
Yeah.
oh, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's very tranquil, very peaceful. And who told me to always try it was Alexander McQueen. He said, you're going to love it, you should try it. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Oh, it's the ultimate escape.
It is. It's just, you just seeing the most beautiful fishes going by and baby sharks. And I went line fishing.
Oh, wow.
I line fished. I caught a baby shark, put it back, obviously. And lots of different other fish, snappers and stuff. But no, I like chilling. I love, I will travel very far to cut off from everything because you need to find time to actually cut off. Yeah. So I would go to the end of the earth to cut off. Yeah.
Is there a place that you've been that you think, oh gosh, everyone should see this place?
Many. For many reasons, because I love, India, so spiritual, Egypt, you know, the Nile, the history, just the museums, it's incredible. To see thousands and thousands of years, and they've got the hair in braids. I'm like, you see? You know, and you just look I couldn't believe it. I'm like, cornrow was not region. Cornrow's been around for a long time. But it's we just see all this amazing history. I love stuff like that. And India's the same, the temples, Bhutan, all these places. I love to go that far, over that way, that direction.
Yeah. We have a few questions from the audience that I'll read out to you because I know everyone wanted to ask you something. Nicole from iCrossing wants to know, what are you most proud of in your career?
Who's Nicole then? She here?
Is she here? Maybe she's...
I thought that
she's
was
here.
I looked at you. So what was the question?
What are you most proud of in your career?
I think I'm just proud to be part of women of color, being a woman of color and helping to open the gateways for other women of colors that want to be in this business or want to be whatever business, in just you know, helping to just segregate the way of someone. I think that's the thing I don't know, that's the thing I think the most, I guess. I don't really know about legacy stuff and stuff like that.
Then Charlotte from L. What is the biggest misconception that people have about you?
That I'm not funny, but I know I am.
We all know you are too. Now we all know. Sarah from L. What do you do to continually evolve in your profession?
I surrender, I become a blank canvas. It's a challenge to me to work with someone like Max and Nicoletta, who I worked with since I'm 16. What are you going to do with me now? I always look forward to this challenge. So I just basically just erase myself. And I'm like, do what you will.
So just that sort of...
I don't want to be controlling over that because I think, and trust, it's very important to trust. I never, when I'm working, look at the screen when they're taking, we had film before, now it's digital, but I never look at the screen because why? I've got to trust what I've never did before. You have to trust the eye of who you're working with, so why should I do it now? And I see it when it comes out, and that's how I want to see it. That's how I work.
So the Town and Country shoot you saw when...
So when it came out.
Great. I think a text may have been sent. Then Tina from Cosmopolitan, and this is something that we...
that was a big magazine back in the day, I remember. It was we all wanted to be on Cosmopolitan.
Really?
Oh my God, it was big drama if we didn't get a cover. It was and with Scavullo, we wanted it with Scavullo. It was only Scavullo.
Right.
Oh, it was such a big deal to have one.
Wait, who's here from Cosmo? Oh, yeah, but...
I had a Valentine's one with a red background with a black dress, with short hair and a little bob fringe. But I was like, it was a big deal. February, of course, I had. But yeah, it was a big deal to have it. But what was your question?
So Tina from Cosmo wants to know, how do you feel diversity in the industry has evolved?
It's getting better, but I do feel that Iman, Bethan, and I will not shut up until it gets to the point where it should be equal balance. So, I mean, I just saw a little bit of couture. I do look online. I do look at things, actually. And I went and looked online at the couture shows. A little disappointing. Let's see, this week's about to start in New York. We do a count. I really hope it's not going to go backwards. I'm always trying to be optimistic. And if it does, then you'll hear us again. And you'll get letters again. They'll get letters again.
And there's a second part of the question, which you touch on a little bit, but I think it's worth exploring. Do you think there are more opportunities now versus when you were starting out?
Yes, there are. There are, but I would like to see it be not because you have to. Sometimes you look at some things because you had to. It's because it should be. It just should be, not an afterthought. And so that's where I think with Anne and Iman and I, what we mean by just casting a girl of color, no matter what, creed or whatever, just because she deserves to have that job. Not because she's found numbers on social media. And that's, it should be that way. Because she's great, because she walks great, because she looks great, because she stands great, her skin's great, and whatever.
I love that. Not because you have to, because it should be. I think that's a powerful statement. I have to say, your Instagram is so much fun.
It is?
It is.
I try to do it.
It's great. It's great, and you're active, too, which is great. It's not
I read everything. I read it all.
It's great. When did you join Instagram?
I think I joined like 2-3 years ago. Okay. I said I wasn't going to do it because I was so scared about Twitter. I've never been on Facebook, I have to tell you. I don't know how to do it. And face, all of that stuff. And then, then you do TV and they're like, oh, you have to do it. And they had to come and show me. They
wanted you to be on Instagram when you were you doing Empire? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Twitter, and they show you how to do it all.
Well, you do it well. And you show like a lot of personal pictures too, which is great.
I have a ton of great pictures.
I bet you do.
And 31-year archive. And I'm like, where'd you dig that one up? But you know what the best thing is? I get them from Instagram because there's that other page that you put your pictures up,
right.
And then there's another page you put photos, and people send these pictures in. I found pictures of me doing fittings. I'm like, I knew that picture would end up there. and I'd be like, I knew they should have told me to cut my head off, and now I've got no makeup and I look like bedraggled at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be like, yeah. And now I'm seeing a Polaroid on Instagram. So I collect a lot of pictures from Instagram, and there's one guy in Netherlands who collected, when I was doing my Taschen book, he collected every single picture. So we used this guy, who's a wonderful guy called Peter, as the point of reference for the
Taschen book that came out last year.
Yeah, because he had everything.
Which, that book is like an anthology. It's unbelievable.
It took 7.5 years.
Did it really?
Because, it was first going to be just a picture book, and then Benedict said, no, I want you to write. So then so the smaller one is not the same as the big one. I'm speaking about different scenarios and my work life and, what happened in this picture. And like most of the photographers have read the book, they say it's accurate. Like Peter said it was accurate, Paolo says, Arthur says it was accurate, Patrick says it was accurate. So I just want to keep it to how it was for that day and just get an insight of how it was, the shoot and who was there and what happened.
So each picture almost gets the diary of that day?
Yeah, but it's different pictures inside the smaller book from the bigger book. Yeah.
Okay.
The bigger book,
The bigger book is extraordinary.
The bigger book, like my friends speak.
Okay. Oh, how great.
Or my peers or whatever you say.
Great. Well, this has been such a wonderful way to spend an afternoon, and thank you for being here and for your candor. And
I was stressing out last night. I couldn't sleep.
I was stressing out too. I have to tell you.
I woke up before the alarm. I woke up at 6:30, and I went to bed at like 2:30, and I couldn't. I was like, why can't I sleep? I was like, it's this.
It was okay, right? It was okay.
You're very kind.
Oh, well, great. And we all learned how to negotiate, which I think really that should be your next book.
No, we don't take no for an answer.
That's a lesson for us all. Well, thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you, really, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And you all have March Town and Countries also on the way out, where you can see the beautiful pictures Nicoletta and Max Viducal did on the amazing Naomi Campbell. Thank you so much.
Thank you.